Did this earlier and it worked.
Hi, I'm Meteorologist Lisa. You're watching the First Coast News Weather Channel. We are proud to have been named the most accurate weather team in Jacksonville for the fifth year in a row by Weather Rate. We take our forecasting very seriously, and we want to get every detail right and accurate. We know weather is
Now, the First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate.
Hi there, I'm meteorologist Robert Speta. We have a weather impact alert in place here across the First Coast. Now, we are tracking a few storms. Actually, a few of them are strong, but we don't have any severe ones out there right now. So, not trying to hype this up or anything like that. We're not saying we're having a tornado outbreak, but definitely for the afternoon heading into the evening commute, we are going to be looking at some rough weather, especially for the kiddos. You know, they might be walking home from school or something like that. You could be looking at some thunderstorms. In fact, right now, Brunswick seeing some pretty decent storms kick on by. So this is going to be, let's actually put up a nice little graphic here, a weather impact alert graphic from noon to 5 o'clock. So already started here. Widely scattered showers moving across the First Coast. I anticipate around Jacksonville about 2 to 4 o'clock we're going to see it kick on through. So please, please, please use care on the roads today. Give yourself a few extra minutes and have those weather alerts ready to go, because, you know, it's going to be a wet go at it here with those high winds, especially on the leading edge of this. And locally heavy rainfall with some slick roads here. So let's break this down. I'm also monitoring on Facebook on our First Coast News platform. If you have any questions or anything like that, I would appreciate it. I'm here by myself right now, so I would like to talk with some of you that might be watching this live stream. Right now, we got about 50 people on here. So if you just want to give us a little shout out here, if you have any specific weather questions, maybe specifically to where you are, I'll do my best to try to answer it. So first off, let's take a look at our camera. We're going to take a look. I believe this is Callahan I have pulled up right now. And yeah, ooh, my goodness. Yeah, so that's the leading edge of this line actually kicking on through. Perfect timing. I got a lot of scud. That's those low-hanging clouds kind of coming off of this. And, you know, as these storms push towards the south and east, this is going to be about the time right there where you'll see those winds begin to pick up. Take a look at the radar. In fact, here we go. Moving across parts of, there's Callahan right there. Let's zoom right in, and that's actually the storm we're looking at right now. So that's kicking off towards the south and east, just along US 1. We could pull this off towards the north and east. St. Mary's got some showers kicking on through too. Just kind of the leading edge of this, and also, and more so, I should say, over towards Brunswick. In fact, based on this radar output, we might get a little bit of waterspout action just offshore and earlier. Just around 11:45, I believe, we actually had a tornado warning just around the Savannah area. Oh, yeah, that could be a little bit of waterspout action just offshore. And what we're talking about is rotation right in here. Now, I do believe they already have a marine warning out for this area. So naturally, boaters, hopefully, I mean, with a thunderstorm coming through, there's no boats out there in the first place. But, yeah, it could have a little waterspout action as it pulls away off towards the east. Moving away from land, so not a threat to specifically Brunswick, Jekyll Island area. But you did get some decent storms that kicked on through. Another look at this. All right, so there's our satellite picture, or not satellite, our live camera. Let's actually pull over towards Folkestone, too, and take a closer look there, too, because I'm getting the automatic generator of the storm tracks here showing a little early rotation. So what we're going to do is pop up velocity there and see what they're talking about. Yeah, I don't really see it there. This is not really that potent of a storm, but definitely could still be looking at some gustier conditions. So let's go back to our radar, kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at here. And also I want to look at the broader picture. So yeah, here's the deal, though. This has lost a lot of its oomph. Not a meteorological word, but than it did yesterday. We had multiple tornado warnings, severe thunderstorms across Mississippi and heading into Alabama, Louisiana. By the time it got to our area, we got a lot of cloud cover kind of building in, helping to stabilize things, but it's still unstable enough for a few of these thunderstorms. So let's take a look at, exactly timing this out here with our map. And here we go. Let's put this up on the screen here for you, friends. Well, if I can get my my little tool to work. I'm trying to get my track. There it is. We're working together. This is live, and I'm using a remote computer to try to dial things up here. And this actually times out just what I was talking about 2 o'clock. Jacksonville could see the leading edge of these storms kicking on through here. Ponte Vedra about 3:55, 4:23 in Nocatee. And that's the leading edge, the highest chance of some of some of these thunderstorms. But on the back side of that, we're still going to be looking at on and off showers, maybe in a few thunderstorms for a few hours. For example, Waycross, the leading edge of this pushed through just around 11 o'clock this morning, but they're still looking at damp conditions. In fact, let's zoom right in on Waycross. We watched the original shelf cloud, that leading edge of that, push through earlier this morning, and now it's still damp with these scattered showers kicking on by. So, yeah, I mean, it's plenty of rainfall pushing on through, and as I mentioned, the bulk of this is going to kick through just about 2 to 4 o'clock, so just in time for that evening commute. And you might be noticing, let's pull back the bigger picture here, because if you are in Jacksonville right now, you probably have the window open. I mean, it's a beautiful day. Temperatures into the 80s. In fact, the record, I believe, for today is 89. Whew, look at that. We're at 85 right now. I'm glad I pushed up I changed our forecasted high here a few minutes ago, and I'm glad I did, because it continues pumping, because we have these southerly winds. This is what we call warm air advection. Look at these winds. These are non-thunderstorm related winds. It's just the low-level jet kicking through. Gainesville's at 32, and he has Jack's at 30. I mean, that's enough to knock down some weaker tree limbs, and I know the oak in my front yard is just shedding leaves like crazy. I'm a little worried about when I get home and the mess I'm going to have to pick up. But these winds are definitely going to be knocking down those leaves and things like that, which also can lead to slick road conditions too. So something to just keep in mind, especially when you get the rain mixed in on those leaves and it kind of gathers along the curbs and things like that. Something to remember. But it is some strong southerly winds, which is helping to warm things up. And right now we're 85 in Jacksonville, 85 at NAS Jackson. Look at Keystone and Palatka and Mayport. Whoa. Mayport's at 87. You seeing this, Andy? That's Andy's our producer behind the scenes here. But 87 in Mayport. 66 and 65 in Valdosta and Tallahassee, respectively. So this, friends, is what we call FROPA. Basically, you got these southerly winds coming in like that, and then we have the northwesterly winds just like that. FROPA is meteorological short for frontal passage. So that's our front, and it's along that line that we're getting all that instability. You got the shear setting up. You have that cold air advection. Cold air underruns warm air. It thrusts it upwards, and that's what creates showers and thunderstorms. There you go, a little weather 101. That's why you watch these FCN Plus streams here. So yeah, and along that line, we are seeing these thunderstorms. So let me pull up the radar again. Let's get a closer look. I'm going to try to put on the Okay, no thunderstorm watches or radars. I am watching the National Weather Service, make sure they're not issuing anything. But I think as far as the most potent storm systems out there at this moment here at 1:11 p.m., it is just offshore of Brunswick and just around the Jekyll Island area. In fact, you're getting some of these decent storms, but this one looks like it's almost beginning to bow out. And what I mean by bow out, it's kind of the winds are pushing it along. How do I do it so you can see it? So it's pushing it along, and that's what's getting those higher winds mixed in there. So what I'm going to do, now I know this is offshore, but it is interesting to look at, is we were taking a look at this earlier, is the velocity. Let's click this right here. Okay, that's only saying 15 mile per hour winds, 26 to 30 mile per hour winds in a few spots. So definitely breezy, but that is, there we go, 35 miles per hour just southeast of Brunswick, offshore, where the winds are picking up, and that just kind of indicates that leading edge of these storms kicking on through. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to check, see if we got any questions coming in here, so I'm not just rambling on and on. But the point is, be weather aware out here, friends. Nothing just yet, but I am...
Any possibility for any tornado watches tonight?
Good question. Thank you. So one of our questions was any possibility for any tornado watches? And the simple answer is no. I don't anticipate any tornadic storms. I'm really watching this one just offshore for maybe a water spout, but I think just in general, I don't anticipate any I think the severe weather threat is definitely backed off a bit, but the stronger storms. Now, could we get a random land spout or something like that? Yeah, maybe. But I think the threat of the tornado watches probably backed off. In fact, this is from the there I hit too many buttons. The Storm Prediction Center. It's our smart people out there in Oklahoma who watch this. And you can see there basically Valdosta kind of in the bullseye of the marginal threat for today. This is a 1 to 5 scale. Low risk being basically you're going to expect some showers, might get a couple rumbles of thunder. And you can see in Jacksonville, we are at that low risk. Where you did have that severe threat, it was basically extending from Savannah all the way back towards around Tallahassee. And made total sense. Earlier on today, we had a lot more instability, more shear involved here. And that's why around Savannah, actually, around 12 o'clock, or about 11:45, we did have a tornado warning that was issued because of the instability. Now, I'm not going to rule out a tornado. We can't completely rule it out, but the chances is very, very low at this point. I think one of our bigger threats is going to be straight line winds. And that is, going back to our live camera out at, I believe, where is this graphic? It was in Callahan. There we go. Going back to our live look out at Callahan gives you an idea of what I'm talking about here. Just a moment ago, this was our shelf cloud that was kicking on through. It looks like the shelf cloud actually just kicked by. Now it's starting to rain. But it's when you see kind of that, we call it the mothership, Independence Day, when the cloud's coming through. When you see that type of cloud, the leading edge of that, that's where those higher winds that we're always talking about in meteorology that could kick up these winds, which right now they're looking about 30 to 40, maybe even times 45 to 50 miles per hour. That's where it's located. So once you get past that leading edge of the storms here, those winds could be backing off. But I think that's the big thing. Now, it's not going to be damaging. Maybe some down tree limbs, weaker ones, leaves blowing off, your stereotypical lawn furniture kind of tipping over. That's what we're talking about here today, friends. And in fact, we're kind of bullseyeing on what's going on out here in Nassau County, western areas of Duval over towards Baker. But I want to pull back to Columbia County, give our friends out here in Lake City a bit of a shout out, because you're having the leading edge of the line pushing on through there. And in fact, we have a time lapse out of Lake City. Let me pull that up here for you. Here we go. There's our leading edge. And watch this. So we had those southerly winds. And watch how the clouds, they should change direction a bit. Oh, they're right there. Let's go back. I like that you guys are here geeking out with me a little bit, because you can kind of see. So the winds were coming in from the south. And watch on the right side of the screen. That's coming in from the east. There's that mothership type cloud I was talking about. See how that builds its in? Well, they're all leading up to about 1 o'clock out moment by moment, and you can actually see it come right in, and then it gets really dark and kicks on by. So that was that gust front that we often talk about here with that leading edge of the heavy rainfall. So going back to our radar, you can get an idea of where that is, just passing over. Well, I'm going to scroll back over here for you. Just passing over the Lake City area, now cruising off towards the east, running up I-10. So places like Sanderson, Baldwin, McLenny, all going to be seeing this line kick on through. Now, it's not going to last long, but it will have those gustier conditions. And if you are caught out driving in it, the visibility is going to reduce. So let's time this one out for you here. And we'll give here we go, put this on the map. Here you go. Right about there. We're going to pull this off towards the east. It's about the direction it's traveling. And this line specifically could get closer to Jacksonville about 3 o'clock. But I think the line from the north and west is going to impact the metro area first. But if you are in Sanderson, give it about 45 minutes. You could be looking at this gust front kind of going into your neighborhood. McLenny shortly after there, about 2:20. I expect that leading edge to push on through too. So let's clear this off the screen. We'll zoom right in on, if you're out here in the next few moments, where you could be seeing. So let's put this up. Here we go. So just east of Lake City. Let's put pause on this. And so this is heading out into some more rural areas here along I-10, but just towards the south, of course, Lake City pushing on through. Anybody traveling along US 90 into the Wilburn area, it's going to be picking up here in the next few moments. Same with Watertown, Nav Air, the airport, Lake City's airport. It's going to be getting hit here in just the next few moments too. And then we scroll back towards the north and east with this specific line. The good news with this line, I don't see a lot of lightning with it. I think the big issue is just going to be kind of the short time heavy rain with that reduced in visibility. And back towards the Okefenokee as it pushes on by. Folkston actually just seen the leading edge of one of these showers kick on through too, but you actually had kind of these thunderstorms bubble up out ahead of that front there too, which, by the way, let's zoom right in on Callahan. I was just watching the live look out at Callahan. You had some thunderstorms. And then back towards St. Mary's, Jekyll Island area, and Fernandina Beach actually is going to be shaping up with an increase in showers in about next 15 minutes. So for a lot of these areas, especially northwest of Jacksonville, conditions are going to go downhill pretty swiftly here. Closer to the Jacksonville, give it about another hour. You'll start to see that gust front push through with that short time heavy rain, and of course, the risk of some lightning. But I don't see any severe weather picking up. So, yeah. Lori said, "Great, stay away from Florida," but these storms are coming towards Florida. So just reading some of the comments here. So and right now they are in Georgia for the most part, I guess, if that's what you're asking, or the fact that we had those. Maybe you're alluding to right at the beginning of the stream, I was talking about how Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama actually seen some widespread tornado shouldn't say widespread. They did see multiple tornadoes yesterday. We're not getting that here on the first coast. So I think that's what you meant here. So yeah, good news. It is weakening for the most part as it comes closer to the northeast Florida area and around Jacksonville, but not weaked out completely. So the evening commute is going to be a slow go. And let's go back to that. Let's talk about our forecast here. And then I also want to talk about not only the nowcast for the 30 to 50 of you watching right now, but also I do want to talk about what we're expecting heading into the weekend, because we have another round of some showers and kick on through. So for today, this morning was beautiful. Midday, we got these showers pushing by into the Jacksonville area. Then we're going to have that drizzle kind of linger around afterwards. So yeah, it's going to be, a short time here. I don't expect anything severe, but definitely some slick conditions. That's once again why we have that weather impact alert in place. So let's take a look at our hour-by-hour futurecast. The top right of the screen right there, you see, it's a mirrored image. Thursday at 6 o'clock, still looking at some of that drizzle, the backside of this front, but you notice how the winds shift in from the north and west at that point. So at that point, heading in through our Thursday night into Friday morning, things are going to cool off. You got an excuse to cuddle with somebody, I suppose, on Valentine's Day, because temperatures are going to be back off. They're going to be back into the mid-60s versus right now we're at 85 degrees. So a 20-degree drop for our high temperatures at the very least as we go ahead into our Friday here. But if we continue to pull back, see how the winds shift in from the northeast. All right, Friday, heading into Saturday, they're going to start to come in from the south. So we could be looking at temperatures back again into the high 70s to lower 80s on Saturday over towards Sunday, but then we got our next front. And this next front is going to be the culprit for our next round of thunderstorms, which should be arriving heading into the afternoon through the evening on Sunday. Myself and meteorologist Lee Southwick will be here on Sunday. We're your weekend warriors at First Coast News. We'll be tracking these storms here for you. But there is that potential of some strong to severe storms once again. And I do think more so for Sunday than what we're seeing here on Thursday. There's just more instability involved. In fact, on the backside of that next front, I anticipate temperatures to drop a decent amount. Let's take a look at this. In fact, Thursday afternoon, here's our weather impact alert, 66 on our Friday. But look at Saturday, 80 degrees. And then Sunday, we get just 78. And then 58 with a low of 38 by Monday. So it's a big cool down, and we're going to get back into those 30-degree temperatures. By the way, the latest 32-degree temperature on record in Jacksonville is April 8th. Now, I did just get an alert here that just popped up. And let me stand by. I'm going to read this real quick. Basically, it is from the National Weather Service talking about this exact cell that we've been watching here together off the coast of Brunswick, Jekyll Island, and Fernandina Beach. So if you're watching with us live, you're getting all this information in real time. And we're getting that information the same as you here. So let's share it. Let's talk about this. I'm trying to pull it up on the screen here for you real quick. Basically, extending from Altama Sound to Fernandina Beach, about 20 to 60 miles offshore. Strong thunderstorms are extending across this area with winds gusting up to 34 knots or greater. And if you have been with us for the last 10 minutes, you would have noticed we were kind of taking the velocity here, and we did see winds that could be estimated about 35 miles per hour. And I was talking about that bowing that was taking place here. So basically, due east of Brunswick, that's that line right there. See how that's some lightning kind of kicking off on it, extending down towards Jekyll Island, over towards Fernandina Beach. So this right here is what we're talking about. This right in there, a special marine warning, which, as we started off with saying, if you are on a boat just offshore, that's not a wise move. You probably didn't check the forecast for it today. So hopefully nobody's out there. But the National Weather Service is making those precautions, issuing that special marine warning just offshore here of Brunswick over towards Fernandina Beach and extending back towards the Jekyll Island area. So if anybody's out there maybe enjoying a day on Jekyll Island, the first half of the day, beautiful, beautiful weather. The second half, it's changing. And as I mentioned earlier, what's fueling a lot of this the first half of the day, I should say. And you could see that the contrast, a black and white scenario, if you will. Right now, Mayport's at 87 degrees. That's our low-level jet, our strong southerly winds, which is bringing those higher temperatures in here. 85 in Jacksonville, NAS Jacks at 85, Keystone's at 86, Gainesville at 88, my goodness. But Valdosta and Tallahassee, it is dropping off pretty quickly. And I show this because I know this is real time and you're thinking, okay, I'm in Jacksonville, why do I care what the temperatures are in Valdosta and Tallahassee? Well, remember, the atmosphere is like a river. It flows. So you always want to look upstream. If you see something flowing, if you're in a river and you see a bunch of stuff flowing towards you, you know that's eventually going to hit you, and that's the case here. That cold air is going to spill in, and that's why by this evening do anticipate a pretty decent cool down here across the Jacksonville area. So we got another question, I do believe. I'm not sure what Kathy Stevens is asking. Get something out, but yeah, maybe I'll get the cot out, or maybe she's thinking we're going to have a long day. Reality is these storms are going to kick on by, so this is not getting a cot out, a severe weather, long-term type sit-up here, friends. Give them about an hour or two. This will kick through. It's going to be slow go on your evening commute, but I don't anticipate, a long duration of that. The big thing is behind this. It's going to be cooling down. So let's actually take a look. I want to show something with you. Let's look at this cell. Yeah, that looks a little interesting here. A couple of these cells from St. Mary over towards the Yulee area, and we're gonna get into this a little bit detail together because I like our graphics here at First Coast News, and we don't get to use these on air because we just don't have time. They tell me I have to break. Today they told me I had to break all this down, what I'm talking about right now, in the course of like a minute and a half. So we don't get to use a lot of these cool tools here, but I do like this one. And basically it's a three-dimensional view because remember when the radar is spinning, it doesn't look at just one level. It basically, like, let's say this is your, I got to get it in frame. This is your thundercloud, and this is the radar. It looks up and down like that, so it scans, and it gives a 3D volumetric scan of the cloud. And that's what it's looking like here. It's almost like a CAT scan or something like that, Kind of gives you in peers in here. So what we're seeing, and what I think is very interesting, is that the top of these clouds look like they're only extending up to about 20,000 feet, which you're thinking, that's high. And it is. 20,000 feet is no joke. That's about where planes fly. A little bit lower than flight altitude of a bigger plane. But what we're seeing here is once it gets below 20,000 feet, it loses a lot of the potential for thunderstorms. We're not seeing a lot of lightning out of these cells, but they are bringing some heavy rainfall and some gusty winds with it. And especially if they start to collapse, you'll get some of these gust fronts, and we call a little bit of a downdraft coming out of them too. So the good news is when you take a look at that volumetric scan, we're not seeing this up to 40, 50,000 feet, which is when we would be talking about, severe thunderstorms. And in fact, let's take a look at the same, we're going to use the same tool, but we're going to go a little bit further towards the east here. So let's pull, my goodness. We're going to go a little bit further towards the east and take a look at this storm that, they've been warning on for that special marine warning just offshore of Brunswick. And this time we'll even take a side scan. So it's not going to be the box, it's going to be the side scan. Oh, and this gives you a much better view, I believe, of what I'm talking about here. So you see at the top of that line, this one only shows about 15,000 feet. So this indicates, where you got those heavy rainfalls, you got basically this not very robust cell, and this is the most potent one out there right now. So once again, we're not here to try to hype it up. I mean, that's why we're streaming this. We're not breaking into live TV coverage or anything like that. But we do want you to stay weather aware because this may not be severe, but it definitely can bring some reduced visibility or maybe some short-time heavy rain and things like that. So once again, we got the weather impact alert that is in place here, starting from noon all the way out to 5 o'clock. Got some thunderstorms as well, potentially in Jacksonville. We'll look at the high temperature. It's up to 85 right now. It's going to cool down quickly. And this shows 58 by 2 a.m. Could even get cooler than that. A bigger cool down by Monday, by the way. Take a look at our weather impact alert. Wind, noon to 5 o'clock. We get these storms moving on through. The impact is those widely scattered showers with isolated thunderstorms. And once again, what you need is just take care on the roadways, friends, especially with down leaves. They're going to be blowing off a lot of trees. Maybe get some pooling on some of the roadways here. Things like that could be having an impact. Kathy said she's just teasing. Very cool weather tool. Okay, I got what you're saying here, but I do appreciate your comment, Kathy. So thank you very much. And you know what? That's why we like doing these live streams because, like I said, unlike on linear television where I'm on TV and I only get a minute and a half to talk to you guys and tell you about what's going on out here, I actually enjoy talking here for about 25 minutes now and answering you guys' questions. So if you're any of the people watching right now, especially on our Facebook platform, that's where I can read the questions directly. I would like to hear from you, and let's get some questions going here. But at the very least, if you're watching on FCN Plus, make sure you have that app ready to go to as well if you haven't downloaded it. And if you do download it, you do get those notifications when we do these live streams, as well as any severe weather notifications too. So let's go through some of my graphics here. And the wiper forecast, I showed this a moment ago, but just once again, just during the afternoon commute by 2 to 4 o'clock, that's where we're going to be seeing the heaviest of the rainfall here in the Jacksonville area before things start to taper off and drizzle out just a bit. Take a look. I think this model is way overdoing it. This is what we call the HRRR. Our graph model, our in-house model is kind of handling it. But let's just show this. Those storms moving towards the south and east, and then things dry out on the back side of it here as it moves away. One more look at the radar too. Here we go. Look at this. They got some storms bubbling up now in northwestern Duval, just south of Callahan. Ratliff area here, 301. Yeah, those are going to start to work its way in. Actually, just outside of Hirlong Airport here. You can see, not Hirlong, which one is that? So you're talking to somebody who was a aviation forecaster for the Navy in Jacksonville. I'm forgetting what airport that is. I'll chalk that up to my old age. This is Hirlong, or Cecil, as I like to call it, because that's the name I would prefer to call it. It's what it always was called before. Anyways, yeah, we're starting to see those storms push on through. Let's take a look at a couple time lapses here together too. Once again, the Lake City one, you can see that shower cloud that's kicking on by. But let's go over towards the Jacksonville one, because you might be able to see the leading edge of those storms out towards our west. I was just showing you here. Kind of get those dark skies out in the distant horizon. But the key thing when we look at these time lapses from a meteorological standpoint is the change in the winds. Watch how these clouds are coming in from basically due south, and then we should start to see them shift more so towards the west. And that's kind of that FROPA, the leading edge of in the outflow coming in with these storms. So when you get that, you get these severe weather conditions. Now, right now we do have the lift. We do have some instability, and we have plenty of moisture. I'm not seeing a lot of shear, and which is why that tornado risk has backed off a bit here. One thing we're not seeing a lot, though, is because of said cloud cover, we're not seeing we have the heating, but we're not seeing a lot of mixing if we had more sunshine over the Jacksonville area, which would help create additional lift and help kind of spawn up these storms to be just a bit stronger. So, yeah, that's something we're watching here. I'm going to try to answer a couple more of your questions here as well. Just kind of reading through of them here. One of the big ones is, when is this going to be hitting the downtown Jacksonville area? So let's pull up over towards our radar once again, and let's give you one more look at what Jacksonville's going to be seeing. When these storms that I was just talking about, just basically due west of the city, are going to push on in. And then we're going to talk about Sunday, I promise. We're going to get to that here. So here's this line, which is more or less falling apart, but it is creating, some increase in the showers. Jacksonville 155. So we've been saying all day and yesterday that the storms would arrive around 2 o'clock. I'm not going to toot my own horn or float my own boat or whatever you want to call it here, but right on time. 2 o'clock here, 155, moving into the Jacksonville area. So I anticipate about 2 o'clock, we're going to get that gust front. We'll get some scattered showers pushing on through. You might get some breaks on the back side of that, and then we're going to get less potent conditions by 3, 4, 5 o'clock, but still some wet conditions with some windy weather, 20, miles per hour or something like that, not destructive, heading into the evening. All right, so what else I want to talk about here? Well, I want to, we mentioned that next front that's going to come in heading into Sunday. We got that storm that's going to push by today, and then we pull back the picture, and here comes our next round of weather that's moving in from the north and west. And this one's going to have even more cooler air on the backside of it. Temperatures dropping to the 30s across the Jacksonville area after that pushes on through, which is why we also have a weather impact alert in place for Sunday late morning through early afternoon. Now, we're going to nail down this timing. Actually might push it back a little bit later in the day based on the latest guidance we're seeing. But widespread rainfall and a few stronger, potentially severe storms also kicking on by. So what you need to do for Sunday, drive carefully, but also have indoor backup plans. And this goes for also the Daytona 500, friends. Yeah, the Daytona 500 is going on Sunday. And if the race started at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, you probably would get it in. But, Andy, do you know what time the Daytona 500 starts?
My dad's a sports writer in Daytona, so I should, but I do not.
Andy says he's not 100% sure. I'm sure I could Google it right now. Unless one of you want to comment on here and let me know. But I'm going to go ahead. Daytona 500 start time. Google is my favorite friend. I should know this, but it's at 2:30 p.m. It says right here. And then, of course, all the events kicking up. But unfortunately, maybe they might be able to start, well, fortunately, I should say, they might be able to start the race at 2:30, but they probably will not be able to finish it. And I know a lot of people spend a lot of money on Daytona 500 tickets. They want to get out there. You want to have beautiful weather all weekend, but it doesn't really look like it's going to hold through the entire race there. Hopefully you get through and hopefully you can have a good time, but there's probably going to be a rain delay. At least Monday is President's Day, so not everybody is off. We don't get the day off here at First Coast News, but at least Monday is President's Day, so schools and stuff like that are closed if you have to stay an extra day. Because Monday the weather is going to be looking beautiful, albeit much colder. I mean, if you know anybody who's visiting from out of state, they're probably thinking 80s, perfect weather in Daytona. But and maybe they might not be dropping to the 30s, but they'll probably be into the 40s on Monday morning, just south of Jacksonville out there towards the Space Coast. So definitely a big drop off in the temperatures on the backside of the next front as it kicks on by. So once again, our extended forecast here. 84 degrees here on our Thursday, 66 on our Friday, 80 on Saturday, and we get 78 on Sunday. But then that next front kicks on through and brings that next round of some cooler weather. All right, let's go back to a real-time check here. We're going to take another look and just kind of watch the radar here across the First Coast here with you, because that's why you're tuning in. You want to track these storms with us. This is a live look out at Callahan, where that cell already pushed on by. But I want to pull up a different camera. So bear with me here, because this is all live here, friends. And if you are in any specific area, let me know. And I'm going to try to pull up a camera in your neighborhood too. I think this actually shot out at Fort Caroline, one of my favorite spots to go hiking, by the way, out there at Fort Caroline. I think this shot might be able to see our cloud off in the distance, kind of on the right side of the screen there. You can kind of see it right there. Middle of the screen is the fort. This is like a little fishing pier there. Like I said, it's one of my favorite spots to go for a hike out there. If you ever see me going for a nice little walk, say hi and bear with me as I might be out of breath because I'm not in shape. All right, so we got our Mayport. I think our Mayport camera might be able to see a little bit looking towards the north at some of these cells kicking on by. And once we pull up Mayport, we're going to take a look. And not really. That actually looks rather pleasant. I think that's because it's looking it's looking towards the east, but it's not right at one of these storms. Let's go back to our radar here. We'll take another live look at what our radar is showing right now. This is out towards Lake City, where you have those showers kicking on through. Sanderson already starting to build on in. We mentioned about 155. Looks like it's going to get there in the next few moments, in fact. McClenny, you know what's happening? These storms, due to the warm temperatures, right now, I mean, what's our temperature right now? 85 in Jacksonville, 87 at Mayport. Due to these warm temperatures, we're actually getting some of these cells kind of bubbling up out ahead of it. I keep on seeing Tim Deacon walk by, and it would be awesome if Tim came in here and just kind of chatted up with me for a moment. He just walked by, looked at me with a cup of coffee, his tie halfway off. Somebody sent him a message. Tell him to come in here. Sanderson over towards the Baldwin area. Some showers kicking out through. But look at this, just around the interchange of I-10 and 295. We also have another round of showers kind of kicking up just outside of Normandy and the Murray Hill area. So, yeah, already starting to build in. I said 2 o'clock into the Jacksonville area, but it looks like we're starting to see some. We actually have the front kind of pushing on through, but then we kind of get this instability and these local showers bubbling up out ahead of it. So, Mariette area, West Jacksonville, Murray Hill, some storms could be kicking on in. This is what we call clutter over the St. Johns River. That's actually the radar seeing the tops of the buildings downtown. Looks like just outside of the zoo, Garden City area, just south of the airport, got another shower kind of popping up there. And, of course, the Ratliff area was where you're kind of getting the heavier stuff. But already starting to see some of these showers kind of bubble up out ahead of this here. So the point is, instability continuing to remain a factor. It may not be severe, but we are seeing an increase in showers around Jacksonville. Let's take a look over towards Fernandina. Jekyll Island, still looking at some scattered showers too, but I'm not seeing a lot of lightning kick up in here either. So how about the rest of the day? Let's take a look at one more look at the forecast. I keep on saying one more look. This is actually a live look too over not downtown, the Hart Bridge. St. Johns River off towards the east. A lot of blue skies, which is helping. I said it was clouded out, but it looks like things have cleared a bit, so that helps increase the instability, and one reason why some of these showers are probably bubbling up. Here at 2 o'clock, temperatures into the 80s, thunderstorms out there. 78 by 4, that's when we start to see a cool down because we have the cloud cover and the rainfall, evaporative cooling kicking on through. But 7 o'clock, temperatures dropping to 70s, and then well after sunset, I do anticipate those northwesterly winds with things cooling down quite quickly out here. So, yeah. Kathy asked about the Oakleaf area. So let's pull up our radar, and thank you very much for chiming in there, Kathy. Truly appreciate it. So we're going to pull up the radar again here, and right there you got Oakleaf, and actually just... So we're going to go, and this is why we like doing this, because I'm going to zoom right in on your neighborhood, and we're going to talk about what's happening. So, of course, Oakleaf right there in the middle of the screen. Now, off towards your west, so around 228, you kind of have a shower bubbling up there. It's actually, it looks like it's just entering the Cecil area. So we're going to go back to our temperatures in a few moments, and what we're going to see is probably a drop in the temperatures at Cecil because the ASOS there, ASOS is what you use at airports to get all the weather conditions. Once that push, it really depends on, Cecil is just so big. Did you know that Cecil used to be Andy, if you're in here too, and the people at home maybe can chime in. Did you know that Cecil used to be an alternate landing spot for the space shuttle?
What?
Yeah, fun fact. Back when the space shuttle was here, so if the space shuttle was coming into Cape Canaveral and they overshot it or they just something messed up, Cecil was actually the secondary landing. And it's one reason why the runway is just so big. And one reason why right here it might be raining on the north side of the runway, but the south side, I'm not sure where the ASOS is, if it's on the north or south portion of it, but we might see a cool down there. Anyways, back to Oakleaf. Fun fact, I'm going to take a sip of coffee here real quick. Oakleaf, Argyle Forest area. Looks like that little round is actually going to scoot towards your north, but let's loop this. Yeah, there might be just north of Oakleaf. There is a little round of rain kind of popping off there. Schindler Drive, Rickett Road, Townsend, Old Middleburg. You got a little bit right there. It's nothing extremely heavy, but definitely a little shot of rainfall. This one is probably the one that's growing a little bit more with this instability. And this might actually also run into a little bit of a river breeze, that being the cooler air over the river. It might be interacting with the southwesterly flow, helping to pop things up here as well. Let's look downtown. I'll jump back in here. Thank you very much, Kathy. And I hope if anybody else has any specific questions exactly where you are located, I'm going to zoom in on the radar, give you a moment-by-moment forecast. So make sure you chime in here. Let's keep this conversation going. So this is just off of West Jacksonville, Murray Hill area. Watching this cell push on through. Let's pull up the side look on this one. Let's get a nice look. And we're going to, oh, that's an arrow, not the thoughts. Okay, we're going to get the right tool here. So we're going to go from Murray Hill all the way out through West Jacksonville, right through the center. And we're going to take a two-dimensional side look. Ooh, yeah, that's about 10,000 feet. So this one is not high enough for any thunderstorms, just way too shallow. But what I do see here is this uplift, right? And let's see if I can actually draw on. I'm not sure. And actually, you see right there, it actually just dropped a little bit. So what's happening is this thing, it looks like it's popping up. You got some good uplift, but at the same time, over the last few frames, it's starting to collapse in on itself, which could bring some gusty winds around Riverside, Murray Hill area in the next few moments. When you get that happening, you get that downflow, could cause a little bit of a gust front. So Riverside, Murray Hill, let's look off towards the north and east here, maybe even over towards more so into the downtown Brentwood area. You're going to be looking at some gusty conditions from this specific cell. Not severe, friends. It's just, we're watching this rainfall move on through. What's interesting is what's that event across the street? The police one?
Motorcycle event.
Yeah, there's a motorcycle event with a bunch of police from all over the country. This is going to make them dampen. They're all on motorcycles, so we'll see how that works out in the next few moments. Andy, you got something?
We have a crazy look. I know it's not weather related, but maybe you can see what it looks like on the radar. I was going to put up a live traffic camera.
Ooh,
It's a crazy crash if you want to take a look.
Oh, yeah, of course. And actually, I can pull up. Where's it at?
See it now. It's corner
Oh my God!
west.
Pardon, is that an RV?
Yeah.
All right.
Done at I-295 and done.
All right. Little switching gears here, and this is going to show. Tell my bosses this. This is going to show the versatility of what we can do here, because what we're going to do is I'm going to try to pull up the traffic on our same weather graphic system that we're doing all this three-dimensional stuff with. We can actually pull up. So where did you say it was? 295 and
Dunn Avenue.
I think I have it. Yeah, emergency vehicles in Duval County, 295 between 29 Dunn Avenue, left lane blocked. It's a major accident. I don't really have too much more information than that, but what I can do is pull up the traffic, and let's see if I can get what I'm going to do right here. This will just take me a moment, friends, so just bear with me here so we can get an idea of the traffic backup. Now, that's all I got. I'm just getting this from Florida 511. You can Google it yourself and get the same information. Unless anything, did anything come through on mail or anything like that, Andy? If it did, let me know. So here we go. This is our radar on top of our traffic. So what we're going to do is zoom right in right here. So actually, this shot right here, it might just start, unfortunately, they're dealing with a pretty serious wreck right there. Looks like both sides traffic just backed right up. So I believe it would be right in here. Yeah, I think this is about the spot where this is. So it looks like traffic in both the northbound and southbound, stretching all the way back towards 115 there on 295, and in the other direction on the northbound lane, stretching back to US 1. You got traffic basically going at an absolute, it's in the red. So that's what you see right there is what you get in both directions. I'm going to try to check our email, see if anything came through on this too. Doesn't look like it just yet, but that is a pretty serious crash out here. So don't have any additional information. Looks like ambulance already, this is from, you're seeing this here with me, friends, all right? Looks like there's already an ambulance already on scene. That does Andy, you might have a better look on that, but that does look like an RV, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and it looks like there might be another vehicle under it. This is just based on what we're seeing right there. Plenty of first responders out there. I don't know much more information than that, just based on what I'm seeing right now on the information that's coming across on our side, which is public available information. But it is I-295 between 29 Dunn Avenue there. So basically what you see right there, Biscayne Village just towards the west of you. And unfortunately, my role in this is the meteorology side of things. Just north of the east of that, there is some light rain that's moving off towards the east, but there is some heavier showers that are going to be working its way into that specific area where we do have that wreck in the next few minutes. And not only impacting, of course, first responders and hopefully everybody's safe that was in that wreck, but also it's going to be causing some messy conditions for people that are stuck in traffic there. So if you can avoid 295 north and southbound, it looks like where there's traffic backups in miles in both directions here, try to avoid it as much as possible. I can't really give you too much more information than that unless we get something that comes through. If anybody out there has any more information, anything like that, we can relay. But definitely looks like a pretty serious situation now. That doesn't look weather related, but it can be weather related if you get those impacts coming in and then you got everybody stuck out there in traffic, first responders getting impacted by the showers. The good news is it's not a severe thunderstorm that is coming in on them. I don't even really see any lightning associated with it either, but it is going to be some short time heavy rain with some gusty conditions that is going to kick on through. Do want to see if we got any other questions here on our Facebook Live. Carmen says prayers, no one is hurt, and I do agree with you on that. It does look like a pretty serious situation there. And same with Kathy saying, I hope everybody's staying safe with that as well. So thank you very much, Andy, for bringing that to my attention. And if you plan, so this is just, I guess, going back to our weather impact alert. If you plan on traveling here this evening, we already got impacts as far, especially northwest of Jacksonville. So this is, northwestern 295, north side of Jacks, out towards Sherwood Forge, Biscayne Village, extending back towards Spalding. Anywhere in here, if you plan on traveling, you're going to get on 295, you have two things to contend with. Of course, this traffic accident, as well as the heavy rainfall, which is going to be reducing visibility with those gusty conditions. So, yeah, just avoid those areas, avoid traveling, which is why, we're here right now, friends. The reason why we're streaming live, of course, I'm talking about this traffic accident. Well, we don't have more information on it, but it looks pretty serious. The reason why we're streaming live is because we do have a weather impact alert in place, and that is until 5 o'clock because of these scattered showers. Now, we issue these not because we're expecting a severe thunderstorm. Some days we are, but today's not the day. And if we do expect severe weather, we will make sure we articulate that and illustrate it as much as possible. But we have those widely scattered showers. Not only where I'm showing you on the radar there a moment ago, but also all across Jacksonville, maybe even down towards St. Augustine as we get closer to 4 to 5 o'clock. And then behind that, temperature is going to be dropping off heading into tonight. So the key thing, we've been saying this all along, is use care on those roads and have those severe weather alerts on. You may not need to get those severe weather alerts today. I doubt it. Please use care on the roadways, friends, though, with the winds continuing to pick up. And I don't know what happened with that accident, but the winds have been high. And I'm not saying that this is what happened. But with winds this high, which right now they're about 30 miles per hour gusting. I mean, you can even see our camera shaking here. Broadside stuff like that RV, but especially things like empty box trucks, which you can see a few in the frame here. Those do get kind of swayed and they're hard to drive. My father was a truck driver for 40 years, and I've rode with him before. It's not a pleasant ride. So mad respect to anybody that can drive those type of things. I'm not saying that's what happened here, but I am saying that these high winds could have been a factor. So just trying to get a grasp of what's going on with this out here right now. But it looks like a pretty serious wreck there. North and southbound 295, northwest of Jacksonville here around Dunn Avenue. That's where it looks like this is taking place. Got a police officer coming up actually on the median right there too. Got multiple, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4 ambulances on scene here. Got a fire truck there as well. So this is definitely a very serious wreck there at this moment. Once again, we're here to talk about the weather, but we're streaming live, so we want to keep you guys posted. So if you guys have any questions, I do want to get back to the weather here just a bit, and we're going to come back once we get a little more information on that wreck there. But if you have any specific questions on the wreck or the weather in your neighborhood as we track these storms, please let me know. Let's take another live a look around the First Coast on our radar. All right, we're going to talk through. We got about 20 to 30 people watching right now on our Facebook. Just got here. Where was that wreck? Bobby just chimed in. So you know what? I'm going to go back to that really quick here. And specifically, Andy, this is on 295 before Dunn Avenue on the northbound side, right? So it's 295 before Dunn Avenue on the northbound side. But what we're seeing is the southbound side. The wreck's not on the southbound side, but it's backed up. Actually, I'm going to zoom right in on where exactly this is here. So before Dunn Avenue, so right about in there, both directions, it is almost a standstill. Looks like it's moving very slowly. Like, for example, the northbound side is down to 1 lane. But you just want to avoid 295, period. And it looks like it's even, we're having ripple effects with traffic backed off on Dunn Avenue off towards the west there, too. So people trying to get off, there's probably going to be some traffic back up there, too. That's what specifically it is. If you're just getting here, Bobby, so thank you very much for chiming in here. Basically, what we're seeing right now is it looks like an RV. And a wreck there. I think there is another. What is that? Andy, can you tell? Andy's our producer I keep talking to here, so it's me and him in the room. That blue object under the RV. I wonder if that's like Jaws of Life or something out there. There are many, many, many people there under that RV there too. So this does look like a very serious situation. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4 ambulances on scene, multiple fire trucks, first responders. I'm continuing to check back in. All the information that we're getting here right now as I'm sitting here, and I'm a meteorologist, guys. So this information is coming in right now. So we're just trying to keep you posted as best as possible at the same time. We've been tracking this rain, but this just came through. So it does look like a pretty serious situation. All this information is publicly available. What I'm seeing right now, it does look like they're listing it as a major wreck, and the amount of first responders there does look like it is pretty serious. So I hope everyone's safe with that. And on top of that, we're talking about the wreck, but also look at the rainfall, which is not going to be helping first responders out there. We have these showers working their way in from the west. You can see here around US 1, some of that precip starting to kick on by. For people that might be stuck out there in traffic, one more reason why to avoid this area. Showers are really going to start to pick up, reducing visibility in the next few moments. We're not talking about 20 to 30 minutes. This is working its way in. You see right here, it's starting to move into northwestern Duval County. Some heavier showers kicking on by. You have some popping up there just west of where this wreck is, extending up on the Trout River, in fact. So basically, the traffic's backed up south of the Trout River, back towards US 1. So if you plan on getting on 295 northbound, you want to get off at US 1 and try to find a different way around it, because this looks like it's a pretty serious situation there, and it's going to take a while to clean up based on everything we're seeing right now and the information we're getting here together. So Tasha's asking, where is that? Thank you very much, Kathy, we got a good communication and some of our Facebook Live comments where I'm reading some of these. Unfortunately, on FCN Plus, we don't have a way to comment with each other. But Kathy, thank you very much for kind of answering this. 295 just before Dunn Avenue on the northbound side is where we do have this very serious wreck taking place. We started this live stream at 1 o'clock to talk about the rain, so wasn't here to talk about this the traffic, but this is definitely something very serious. So want to continue to watch out for that. I do want to pull back the picture real quick. We're going to come back to this in just a moment because we try to get some more information. And Andy, if you see anything come through to email, please let me know. Let's pull back our picture, get a broader look. This is Lake City, where we just had some rain kick on by. We have all these storms kind of bubbling up. But if we pull back the broader picture, I do want to mention this. So closer to Jacksonville, we got some showers kicking on, and we had that special marine warning earlier just off Brunswick. We have another round of showers actually working its way into Brunswick. None of these are severe, friends. So we're not here to hype it up or say these are severe, because they're not. In fact, this is what we kind of call a more of a shield on the backside. You see from Tallahassee over towards Lake City, it's the rain shield. So it's going to bring some rain, probably a lot of drizzle with it, unfavorable weather at the very least out there on I-10. But not severe. Where we could still see some stronger storms, though, is this one just off the Big Bend area. If you're looking way off towards our west, I do still think that can bring some instability. But closer to downtown, of course, along I-10, this actually is picking up on hail. That's interesting. So there is a pretty decent little cell popping up outside of the McClenny area. Let's zoom right in. So yeah, if you're in McClenny, this is another thing about these graphics. I love these graphics we have at First Coast News, and one reason why you got to watch our live stream, friends. So that's saying a wind impact. Come on, give me a little. I'm going to try to pop up, see if this is indicating hail here. So it does say, yeah, there is maybe like little dime size hail possibly coming out of this right on I-10, which means reducing visibility on I-10 too, which goes back to, once again, why we have the weather impact alert in place out here today. It is not because we're looking at strong to severe storm. We're not looking at severe storms, strong storms. But this definitely is going to be reducing visibility here through that afternoon to evening commute. Right there on I-10, we got heavy rainfall, maybe some dime-sized hail. So if you're traveling east on I-10, definitely going to be looking at the reducing visibility. Lakeside outside of Orange Park, Carmen is chiming in here. So let's go right there. Thank you very much for chiming in and asking these questions, Carmen. And if anybody else, if you're feeling shy about it, please don't. Try my best to talk with you here. I'm going to take a sip of coffee real quick, and then I'm going to just wet in the throat here. I've been seeing Tim Deegan walking by, our chief meteorologist, waiting for him to come in and just join me for a moment. So let's go out towards the Orange Park here. Carmen Kearns? I hope I'm saying your name right. And if I'm not, please don't get too upset at me. All right, so let's scoot down here. Now, Orange Park, you're looking all right. We do have a little bit of returns on the radar right now, just out towards the Fleming Island area. It looks like there is a round of rain moving over NES Jacks right now. Shout out to my old stomping grounds. Up until 2020, I was working as an aviation forecaster out there. So shout out to our fellow meteorologists there, keeping our P8s nice and safe. And right now, I'm sure they're having a fantastic time. Tough part about this is trying to tell them if there's going to be lightning or not in a cell specifically like this. I would say no, but you have to be very careful when you have small cells like this moving over NAS jacks, because a lot of times you have jet fuel out there that they're trying to fuel up the planes and stuff like that, and you don't want those jet fuel out there on the tarmac, even if there is a tiny chance of lightning, because that can make for a very, very bad day. So I'm sure they're probably taking care of that there. But Orange Park, let's pull back our picture here. Now we do have these showers out towards your west, and I think this line, if you're talking more of robust continued heavy rainfall into the Orange Park area, Middleburg area, it's going to be from this next line that's kicking on through, the one that was producing some hail around the Baldwin area. And you can see right here, Middleburg 242, Mandarin about 3 o'clock, Fruit Cove about 309. So, but there could be some showers bubbling up ahead of this too, but I think that main line, this is kind of your time frame with that. So, Carmen, you're laughing at me, so I hope that I said your name right or wrong. Maxim Construction and Roofing says, appreciate the live weather update. We appreciate you chiming in here as well. If you have any specific questions about your neighborhood, please let me know, and I'll try my best to get some, take a look at the radar here for you. But once again, we are here to talk about our weather impact alert that is in place here through this afternoon. Until about 5 o'clock, I think most of this is going to be pushing on through, but just in time for the evening commute, which means the kiddos, you started off the day beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous weather, and maybe they went to school in a T-shirt, but on the walk home, it might get rough. So I was just actually talking about this, and I wanted to pull this up because I was mentioning that Cecil, the temperatures would fall. Looks like Jacksonville, too, just had a round of rainfall move on through. So that evaporative cooling. So we're seeing this in real time. If you've been watching this live stream together with me over the last hour now, we're seeing in real time the temperatures drop. 88 right now in Mayport, but Mayport, enjoy your 80s. Don't flaunt it too much, because give it a few minutes, the mercury is going to start to fall real quick. NAS Jax is at 87, 66 over here towards Lake City, and 65 in Tallahassee. So trying to see if we got any more information. Check 511. Andy, can we go back to that traffic camera? Let's see if we got any more information on what's going on here, because I do see a few people asking about that. Sorry, excuse me. Gainesville hit 88 degrees. That is a record for them out there. So, yeah, there's this, if you're just tuning in, on top of our weather that we've been talking about here, and we've been tracking the rainfall, we just got notified of this very serious wreck, which looks like a recreational vehicle there, a large RV. I think there's another vehicle in there. I can't, please don't hold me to that. This is just based on what we're seeing here. But it is being called a major wreck just around Dunn Avenue on the northbound side of 295. Southbound as well, looks like do have the lanes reduced there down to one lane too. But on the northbound side, pretty serious backup there. I'm going to try to see if I can get any more information here. I'm just trying to figure this out. All right. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything new is coming in on this end. Maybe somebody up in the newsroom, or Andy, if you hear anything, just let me know, please. But what we see together here is we count about 4-5 ambulances, multiple fire trucks. There are a lot of first responders out there as well. So a very serious setup there, situation there. And on top of that, from the meteorology side of things, I'm actually going to pull up the traffic here. So this is our UF Health Traffic Center graphic. If you don't mind switching it back over to the weather graphic, so you can do this side by side if you want. Just kind of showing you where this is specifically. Now, we were watching this rain just towards the north, thankfully, for those first responders out here on 295. That looks like that rain kind of split around the wreck, but it is backed up all the way back here to 115, back towards the south around US 1. You have it backed up in both directions here. And some fairly heavy rainfall just moved around the airport area, and that is moving. Let's actually put this, I wonder if I could put this on a loop for the last 30 minutes, give you an idea of where that heavy, okay, so that's moving just towards the east away from the wreck. So that's good news for the first responders. But then you look off towards the west. Let's loop this back in. There is that next round. Now, the good news, I don't see any lightning with this. The cloud tops within these clouds are only about 10,000 feet, so we're not seeing significant lightning, too much in the severe weather, but heavy rainfall, definitely going to be a problem for first responders, but also anybody out there on 295 stuck in this traffic in both directions, north and southbound, just around Dunn Avenue, where you do have that rain coming on in. So you just want to avoid this area at all costs. And it goes back to a weather impact alert. The number one thing we said when we issued this here was be careful out there on the roadways, and hopefully some people are taking that to heart and they're checking the latest information before heading out here on 295. But that's a live look, just seeing what's happening there with that RV, and I'm not sure if there's another vehicle involved. I really haven't got much more information. We just had a push alert. Was that you, Andy? All right, let's see if and this is why you want the First Coast News app, friends, because you get the latest information. So I'm just going to read what's on the FCN app here with you. And, if you have the app, you of course can read it yourself. All lanes intersect 295 south just after Dunn Avenue are currently closed due to crash. So they must, first responders are currently on the scene. We'll provide more information. So there's not much more information that's being pushed out. And it looks like everybody out there in the newsroom is kind of getting the same details that I'm currently getting as well. But it does look fairly serious. Looks like another ambulance showing up on the scene right now. This does look very serious. So hopefully somebody on the newsroom, if we get any more information, please let us know. Or if you're in the comments here, verified information, let us know too. So thank you very much, guys. Kathy's saying hello to John here. If anybody else has any specific questions about the weather in your area too, because we're here first and foremost to talk about the weather. Of course, can't ignore very serious traffic like that. Let me know, because we've been tracking these storms. And I'm actually going to go back to the radar one more time. Nothing severe out there right now, but I did see a marine warning that was just issued. Oh, nope, it expires. Good. So that marine warning that we were watching offshore of Fernandina Beach, see that's moving away right here. Looking still fairly potent, but they did expire that, so good news. It is moving away. Here comes our chief meteorologist, Tim Deegan. I think he's coming in right now. Tim, you want to jump in here with me?
I can briefly, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get Tim in here with us. Because we're tracking, and Tim can kind of give us. I know he's just looked over the weather, so give us a good idea of what we're looking at right now and for the rest of the day. And of course, heading into Sunday is our next weather impact alert, and I think Sunday is going to be a higher chance of actually severe thunderstorms here on the First Coast, because this whole line has more or less fell apart. We do have some bubbling up here. We do have some stronger storms that, due to that heating that we're seeing taking place just around Sanderson. Just towards the east, out towards the McClenny. McClenny, actually, some showers are kicking on through right now. Take a look at that. See if you're out McClenny, let us know. Give us a little shout here in the comments section as this pushes on through. And then you can see closer to downtown Jacksonville, where we are here, of course, at First Coast News. We got that event with the motorcycles and the police officers right across the Tim, you just came in from outside. Is it raining outside right now?
It is. The drops are coming down, the gusts are increasing, and the temperatures are dropping.
All right. So, Tim, thanks for jumping in here. Tim was walking by. I waved at him through the window. So
yeah, well,
putting you on the spot.
We have a bunch of things going on. Our, as you know, Robert, our weather channel normally goes 24/7, and it's not running right now. So I want to get back out and make sure that is going.
Ooh, is that more of a software issue, or is that
that's
on
a
ours?
Great question. I'm going to find that out as
Fair.
soon as I can. So I'm hoping I'm agreeing with Robert. But it seems like, Robert, what we thought would happen yesterday is happening. And that is that as dynamic as this line was, then we're seeing it weaken as it comes on through, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're seeing. I think the worst we had today was around Savannah. There was a tornado warning. Outside of our immediate area. About a half an hour ago, we had a special marine warning off of Fernandina Beach, but we haven't really had anything outside of heavy rainfall.
That's probably the main thing, right?
Yes.
Robert, for those of you who don't know, Robert is a boater, a boat owner, and as you know, as folks, in case you've been locked inside, Robert's probably been sharing this. Temperatures made it into the middle 80s in some places.
88 in Gainesville, record.
Wow.
In Gainesville.
Wow.
We got up to 87 at Mayport, and I think we might have hit 88 at Mayport.
So although windy, obviously, for boating, I am thinking that for those who may be off on Thursday, today, that they might be out there. So I think that's probably our biggest concern, is that there is a pretty sudden wind shift blowing through right now.
Actually, I'll pull up the winds really quick here with you. First off, we'll go to temperatures. 88 right now in Mayport. Look at that.
Wow.
Keystone's at 88. Palaca's at 88.
What a shift we've had since the first 3 weeks of January.
Right? Where we had that prolonged, multiple record-breaking colds.
Although I must add, because as you know, I'm big on numbers. The airport through that whole time period never had a record low.
Really?
They had a
That's right.
record high low. They had a record high low.
That was the day Waycross got a lot of snow, right?
Yes. But we never had actually a record low. And I personally I think I've seen this, trying to keep track of it over the last 10 to 20 years, that we've had very few actually record lows. And what tends to happen is we get these, no doubt about it, it's cold, right? But we get those extreme cold periods like we had in January. And then we tend to bounce back, and we do bounce back. That's when we get the records. So if you look back at, I think over the last 10 years here, Robert, we've had maybe 10, let's put it this way, 10% of our records have been record lows, 90% have been record highs. And now we've seen this exact same thing happen again. I'm going to make sure the Weather Channel is working.
Well, Tim, thanks for jumping in here.
No,
I waved you down.
I know that you've already had a full day, so thanks for hanging out.
We're good. We've been chatting here. We got some good comments coming through. Chief Meteorologist Tim Deegan, though, thank you very much for stopping in. Tim's only here for a couple more months, so make sure you send him some love. He's been here at First Coast News since the mid 80s. Absolute legend. I'm happy he came in here and talked with us, even if just for a moment. And he's right. We haven't had any very much. We had a lot of cold, but we have record cold. We got record highs out there today, which goes back to what's fueling up our showers here across the First Coast today. We have what we call FROPA, the strong southwesterly winds warming things up. Look at the winds in Keystone over towards NAS Jacks, where these same spots where I was just saying high 80s. We're nearing 90 degrees in spots. It's all due to it's not the heat from the sun per se. Of course, it's the sunshine heating us up, but it's more so the southwesterly winds pulling in warm air out of the tropics, and it's causing us to warm up out here as well, which helps increase that instability. Here in downtown Jacksonville, I can tell you, and now I'm really hearing it, the rain picking up. So I'm sure that motorcycle event across the street, probably on a hiatus. We got police officers from all over the country, just out in Lache, out there outside of Everbank Stadium. I'm sure they are inside. In fact, now I don't expect lightning out of this. We'll take a two-dimensional look at this Pacific cell kicking on through. Let's go sideways on it. Yeah, this was up to 10 to 12,000 feet. We're not seeing a lot of lightning, but there is kind of those pockets of some moderate heavy rainfall. Kathy said, Tim Deegan, you're going to be missed, and we feel that here at First Coast News as well. Just 40 years of knowledge. And he deserves his retirement. Hear you me. He definitely deserves it because he's been here for a while. Oh, nice. You know what? Andy, you're absolutely just winning over here. Andy's our producer behind the scenes. He's basically a single-hand studio that we got over here. He's pulling up all these different cameras, and that is downtown. Looks like that. They have put a pause on what was going on over there at Lache, but you can kind of see those clouds kicking on through. That's one of those shaft clouds from those storms kicking on through. So on the right there, you see Everbank Stadium. On the left, that is a two-dimensional view, which is something we can do when we have a little bit more time. Looks like some heavier stuff over towards the Arlington area, just around Jacksonville University, extending up towards 295 on the east side of 295, not the west side there, because the west side, of course, we have that serious traffic accident going on. Heavier showers near downtown as well, and it looks like most of it's skirting just towards the north of San Marco, but you can see on the camera there, pretty steady rainfall coming down at this moment. So, yeah, that's... Yeah, it's a pretty good little shot of rain there, and the radar really kind of shows this. And if that gives you any idea of what we're talking about here, when we're talking about these pockets of rain, this is exactly it. I don't see any lightning out there right now, but watch this storm make a fool out of me and have that tower out there get struck by lightning. The tallest object anywhere in Duval County. You can see one of the cable cords for it right there in the middle of the screen. That's what we're talking about there. So it's these shots of precip kicking out through. So here's our one over downtown. You can see the leading edge, which, by the way, we said 2 o'clock. It's 218. We're getting the rain there downtown. I don't like to brag, but I'm just saying our forecast was right. And stop telling us our forecast was wrong. Mayport's got that precip kind of kicking on in right now, too. Pull back that picture over towards Fernandina Beach. You got that line as well pushing on by. It's these initial lines are going to kind of be the stronger of the cells, and strong is it's carrying a lot of weight with this because they aren't really that strong. Our storms during the summer are a lot more potent than this. But I think the key thing is just, the impact of the warm air out ahead of it. As Tim was just saying, record-breaking warm. We got temperatures in the mid to high 80s. On the back side of this, we got a big cool down. So it's this classic FROPA and cold air advection that is spilling in. So if you guys have any other more questions, if I don't get too many more questions here on our Facebook Live, I'm probably going to wrap this up soon. But I do want to, if anybody's jumped in here in the last few moments, Andy, do you want to jump back to the traffic accident? Because this looks pretty serious, and I'm going to try to pull up more information that I'm getting here just on my laptop in front of me. By the way, if you guys are curious what I'm doing, I have a TV here, and I'm looking down at my laptop a lot, so that's why I'm not making eye contact with the camera. So just letting you know, I'm not kind of staring off. Anyways, I digress. Still, it looks like a standstill, definitely northbound. Avoid northbound if at all. I would say avoid 295 overall. This is just straight stop there just outside of Dunn Avenue. So you're seeing right here traffic in both directions. Looks like the southbound lane is slowly moving there. But I still see a lot of first responders out there, multiple ambulances. That is a serious situation there. And if we pull back the picture, good news for them for the time being. It looks like the rain kind of split around this accident. We had a cell move towards the north. We had the storms move towards South Dorst downtown. This area just around the Trout River looks like it didn't get hit by the heavier of the rainfall here. Good news for the first responders. It looks like they got a lot to deal with, and that's on their hands right now. And the rain is the last thing they want right now. But unfortunately, there is this one, just the one that we've been watching over here towards Baldwin. It's starting to work its way through western areas of Duval. That is going to work its way, and I would anticipate next 10 to 15 minutes, those first responders, everybody involved in that crash are going to have to contend with an increase in showers, just like you were seeing here with our live camera over downtown Jacksonville. So it's going to be that short time, heavy rain. Thankfully, there's no lightning associated with it, nor the winds aren't very high. This is not a steep, it's not a very thick thunderstorm, so we're not getting a good downdraft out of it or anything like that. It looks like right there, you can see in the latest frame, just around where that traffic is backed up south of this serious crash out there off of Dunn Avenue. It looks like the precip's going to be kicking up there in just the next few moments. I'm going to refresh our Florida 511 here and basically taking a look at what's happening out here. By the way, sorry, excuse me. There's also a crash on the Matthews, too. It looks like right in the middle of this heavy rainfall, so that very well could be weather related. But I just got a notification here that the Matthews is let me see, where am I right now? Excuse me, guys. Looks like the Matthews as well is seeing some pretty serious backups because the lane on the east, looks like eastbound on the Matthews, so coming from downtown towards Arlington is blocked right now, so another accident there too. Don't know the full details on that, but what we have seen is out here towards 295 Dunn Avenue area. That's where we're kind of seeing this serious wreck. Let's pull back the picture, put it over here where they're actually just starting to see an increase in rainfall. So please, friends, it's slick roads out there today, reducing visibility. We got this crash on 295. I don't know if this was weather related, but it is serious nonetheless. An RV there. They've had those gusty winds, so something broadside, just speculative. So I do apologize for that. But high winds with a broadside vehicle like that can cause some unstable driving. Any truck driver or bus driver is going to be able to tell you that there. And we've had winds here across the First Coast, 30 miles per hour or higher here through the day today. So traffic in both directions, northbound, southbound, is backed up. But specifically northbound, it does look like it's basically at a standstill with that RV. Multiple units on scene. I'm seeing plenty of first responders there too. So haven't really seen too much more information that I continue to check back in. But if you have the First Coast News app, if you don't have the First Coast News app, make sure you download it so you can get that latest information on not only the weather, but also what's happening out here with this crash. And we'll try to, First Coast News at 5. We'll definitely have more information. I don't know if we're sending a crew out there or anything, but it does look like it's pretty serious here. One more time, Andy, let's do one more walk around with the radar. One last call for questions here on our Facebook page too. So if I don't get any, we're gonna close it up here.
6 minutes.
6 minutes. All right. So you got 6 minutes to ask me a question. I'm gonna take a nice little shot of coffee. You want to wrap this up right at 2:30. All right. Keep with the schedule on FCN Plus. I get it. All right. So let's do another walk around here. Of course, we've been watching this wreck here on 295. As I just mentioned, there's another crash out in the Matthews over towards downtown where we are seeing some decent rainfall at this moment. Let's pull up our radar here, get you a broader view of this here. So first off, here's the big picture. We got this front moving on through. We have a weather impact alert in place. That's thunder. Or is that a plane?
Motorcycle.
It's a motorcycle because we have all the motorcycles across the street. Excuse me, I just heard rumbling. I mean, we're in a kind of a closet area here, so I just heard rumbling. It's the motorcycle because I just mentioned there's all that the police across the street doing their competition. So we have this front stretching from northeast to southwest. It's a fairly potent front. Yesterday, this brought tornadoes over towards Louisiana into Mississippi. That front has weakened out a bit, but it is still bringing scattered showers with some thunder across parts of the First Coast. But more so, it's those strong southerly winds we've seen out ahead of it, with those temperatures pushing into the mid to high 80s across the First Coast. Now it says 71 in Jacksonville because it rained at the airport. But if you're in Mayport over towards St. Augustine, it's still warm. But once this front pushes through and you get that rainfall, the temperatures are going to drop fairly swiftly out here. And by tomorrow, I anticipate lows into the lower 50s. And tomorrow's high is only going to be into the lower 60s. So that cold air advection is going to be kicking on in. So let's take a look or walk around as we've been tracking this for the last hour and about a half now. So I thank you very much for everybody's chimed in. Give me a nice little comment section if you have been watching. Let me know where you've been watching from specifically here on the First Coast. But for the last hour and a half, we've been watching this. It started out there towards Folkston, out towards Lake City, and we've been tracking these showers together here on FCN Plus. Right now, moving over towards downtown, the Arlington area, extending back towards. We just had that live lookout at Fort Caroline. In fact, I wonder if I think I still have the Fort Caroline camera still up here. That is at, this is Mayport. I am sure I can pull up the Fort Caroline camera really quick here for you. Fort Caroline, you're actually going to be looking at those showers, parts of East Arlington starting to pick up there too. One second. Okay, I guess I can't pull up the oh, there it is. I have a list of like 50 cameras. I'm just trying to cycle through here, friends, so I do apologize for that. Here you go. So right there, yeah. So the Dames Point Bridge off in the distance there too, so I'm sure they're seeing reduced invisibility on the Dames Point Bridge, which goes back to our weather impact alert. It's the evening commute. 295 is going to have a slow go on it. So that's just a live look at looking west off of Fort Caroline. It's a little fishing pier there just outside of that monument. Okay, let's go back to the radar here. Back towards North Brunswick area, looking at some showers, even over towards Fernandina Beach, and extending back towards the Mayport Atlantic Beach, starting to see it. If you're in Jack's Beach, getting it in the next few moments. You can see here heading up Beach Boulevard, so just around South Ridge. Looks like the intersection of Kernan and Beach Boulevard. There, heavy rainfall starting to pick up in the next few seconds, probably already is. This is real-time data, so this is basically all this is moving west to east. Huguenot area looks like some decent rainfall. Lee just said he's watching in from Kingsland. Let's kick it off towards the north. Shout out to my Submariner friends. Yeah, you got still some St. Mary's. You see Kingsland, actually, Kingsland, you had some showers earlier, but it does look like you're going to get another shot of precip kind of kicking on through there in the next few minutes. On top of that, too, see right there. Yeah, it's just right over at Kingsland. Beautiful town, by the way. I absolutely love visiting out there in Kingsland. It's very historical. A lot of the towns out here, Folkestone, Waycross, I was out there covering the snowfall. Absolutely beautiful area. Speaking of Waycross, looks like you're starting to get to the backside of this overall weather system, and temperatures are going to start to cool down with still some cloudy skies kicking on through here. And then we pull back the picture one more time back towards Lake City. You're probably going to have some more drizzle in your forecast, but the heavier stuff has wrapped up. I got one more minute. So, yeah, we're continuing to track what's going on out here across the First Coast with these scattered showers. Thank you very much for everybody that chimed in. Kathy, Daniel, Donald, Lee, Carmen, Maxim, Tasha, all you guys for commenting here over the last hour and a half. We, of course, been tracking what's happening out here in the rainfall. We did have that breaking news come in with that accident on 295 around Dunn Avenue. So if you are heading on 295 northwest of downtown, I would just avoid it completely. It looks like a pretty serious wreck there with an RV. Multiple ambulance there on scene. I don't have too much more information. I wish I did, but it's just the information available to us. Meteorologist Robert Speta. Thanks for watching here on First Coast News Plus. Please check back in at 5. I'm sure we'll have more information on that wreck, and we'll give you an idea of this cool down that we have, plus what we're expecting over the weekend, because we have another round of storms that are going to be pushing through on Sunday, which could impact things like the Daytona 500 out here. So thank you very much for everybody watching, and yeah, have a great day. Long talk here with you guys, but thanks for watching.